you have pointed out, but we're going to start with some of the ones that are written. Some of these questions may trigger other questions that you have, and so the reason we wanted to have these questions written down so you can be totally free and you wouldn't be embarrassed by asking a question. So if you feel comfortable later on, you're welcome to ask a question. We'll recognize you. Before we ask the distinguished gentleman up here to answer your questions, I want to introduce everybody on the panel. You've already met Pastor David Dean, the senior pastor of the Clovis Church, formerly of Chowchilla, and also Nick Young, who's the youth pastor associate. He wears so many titles, he's not sure what he's called, but he works at Clovis. And of course, you know this fella. We still claim him as a Present Central member. He's working for Seaton Seal, our own Maurice Grant, and then our own founder, basically, of this church, Pastor Moore, the senior Sun Seal, and our senior pastor, Pastor Octavian, and I'm Terry Jensen, the associate pastor here. So we thank all these pastors and all this wisdom that's up here in front. Wow, what an opportunity to really learn from all these experts. So I haven't even had a chance to look at these questions, and I think what we'll do, I'll just ask a question. If anybody would like to respond, you can, and just kind of indicate that to me. So the first question is this: should we limit even good spiritual things on the internet if our teens are spending too many hours there? Even if we're looking at spiritual things and ennobling things, can we spend too much time on social media? Who would like to tackle that one? That's kind of a question.
Well, all of us. Are they working? Yeah. Anyway, the principle says when it comes to food, abstinence from what is evil in moderation in what's good. Then my answer is moderation even in what's good. And even they are not evil things, but we have to be moderate even in what's good things. And time is a very precious, it's actually the most precious thing we have in life. And even what's good, I think there has to be lots of wisdom in managing time and what you watch.
There needs to be balance in life. Go ahead.
I remember when the Walter White Total Onslaught first came out, and I would sit and watch those for hours. And I got weird. Yes, moderation is good. So. Just to add to that, when I was younger, I watched a lot of Amazing Facts that has written programs and Secrets Unsealed at some point in time. And what I discovered is that it was very helpful, but there was a certain point when I realized all of the things I was watching were things that someone else had invested their personal time in studying out from Scripture. And so while there's value in that, I think there's also value in learning just how to open the Bible for yourself and really mine out of Scripture what God has for you. So I think Pastor Octavian hit the nail on the head as far as moderation and the good things, but also there's the value in learning how to study for yourself so that you can get from Scripture what God has for you personally.
Amen.
I want to second what Maurice just said as far as not becoming a spectator. The majority of things that we do from church to watching all these great programs is that we are sitting there as spectators almost constantly. And so it's good to get active in a study, but also coming from another angle, we recognize that we are a very sedentary culture. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's hard to walk, run, play, do activities while you're watching YouTube. And so when we're watching even good things, we become sedentary. Usually we're not moving, we're not active. So I think for young people and older, if you're not as active as you should be, you may challenge yourself or challenge your young person to some exercise and some very vigorous activity first before they sit down and start watching, or stand up and watch and do things to make sure that even the good things you're actually getting in because your blood is good, because your mind is fresh, because you've actually been active.
The next question is it wrong to have a television or a smartphone? What would be the danger of having both? In other words, I'll just paraphrase the question. Is it a sin to have television and a smartphone? Should we have them or not have them at all as Christians, as Seventh Adventist Christians, or waiting for Jesus to come? Should we even have these temptations in our home? I guess the real question would be, is the evil in the equipment or what we do with the equipment? I think that's the question.
Well, you know, we might compare it to money. You know, is money good or bad? Well, it all depends what you use it for. The same is true of television. You know, if you're going to use television and moderately watch 3 ABN or Secrets Unsealed or 3 ABN, then I don't see anything wrong, you know, with having it. I would also say something else. Sometimes I get all caught up, and I'm in the office, you know, I've written about 37 syllabuses, and sometimes we have a tendency to get caught up in focusing on that and staying there and working on that. What I make a point of doing at the office is I'll work, say, for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'll get up and I'll go play with the dog outside for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll go back to work, and I find that my work is much more efficient because I took the break. So, you know, if we're working on a project that takes lots of hours, it would be a good thing, you know, to take breaks in between. Go out, get some fresh air, go get a couple of glasses of water. Sometimes I'll interrupt what I'm doing and I'll go ride my bike. I ride my bike 5 miles every morning, and sometimes I do it in the afternoon. So just take breaks in between. I think it's good concept.
Thank you. This next question is rather long, and it's a two-part question, but let me read the whole thing. To deal with the challenges of growing up in a dysfunctional family, some nieces and nephews I know have chosen drugs, rebellion, anger, and attempts at self-destruction to cope. How can we as aunts and uncles, or as parents, or as adults, help these young adults to see that there is a better way? That's the first part of the question. There's a better way than the dysfunctional families that they live in. How can we give them a hope? And then a follow-up to that, their only guide seems to be their phones, Facebooks, and the internet. They rely on the counsel of others on Facebook, but they won't listen to their family. Wow, that's kind of a very important question. So these kids that find themselves in a home where they're not really given guidance and instruction, how can we show them a better way? How can we give them hope? And what can we do to get them to confide in us rather than listen to their friends for what they should do, the choices that they should make in their life? First of all, let's break this down. What can we do to show them a better way? I would kind of answer that question myself. I think the whole thing, as I listened to all these various media, as we've broken down the social interaction and the communication, I think as parents and as adults, we need to be more involved with our family. They're looking for love and acceptance and self-worth, as has been expressed here this afternoon. And they're not getting that from us because we're too busy as adults with our work and other concerns that we have. So how can we show the young people a better way? That would be my answer. Anybody else? And how can we give them hope?
When I first came to the church, I had a family take me in. And they were very healthy, like functioning family. I've never seen anything like it. And that is what showed me how things are supposed to be in a better way, just on how a family functions and talks to each other. And what they do with their day. They really actually showed me what Sabbath is supposed to be like. Because I could be watching 3 again, and I thought I'm sick of them to read the Bible all day. But they went out, they had fun, they went on walks, they went to nature, they spent the whole day together, and they liked each other. And that was to me, it's like, well, you know, my family's more kind of like the Simpsons. And like, it wasn't like totally dysfunctional, but yet there's something there that out of that family that I wanted and that I didn't have before. So if you're a good example, if your family is on par, take someone under your wing, show them what it could be like and how it's supposed to be.
Well, Jesus said that the prophet is without honor among his own. It's one of the most difficult things to do when one of the family members has that type of problem is for a family to try and get them on the straight and narrow, because they'll consider that you're lecturing them for some reason, the family doesn't have the same level of authority as somebody outside.
Now, the parents are just so focused are outdated, right?
Right, and cousins and uncles and aunts too. So, at that point, you can find an individual who you know to be very spiritual, that you can encourage to contact the person, and have somebody else help them besides the family. And I think that'll work a lot better in many cases.
Good answer. And so we need to do more in this line of what we call mentoring, and we need to encourage our young people, if they won't listen to you as parents, get them to talk to another respected leader in the church.
Very good. Just a moment. I think it's very interesting that the disciples asked Jesus to teach them how to pray, as opposed to Jesus saying, "Hey, let me teach you how to pray." I believe that conversation came out of obviously watching the life of Jesus, just spending time with him, doing the things that he did, and they're watching this powerful prayer life, and now they're interested. And I think there's a lot of young people that come from dysfunctional families or dysfunctional homes, but they were just exposed to your life. Or if you would just take them where you go, fishing, working on the car, working in the shop, doing interesting things and developing skills in them that they don't even have and don't even know about, and they're just hanging out with you. Eventually they're going to ask, they're going to inquire and get curious about your life and why you're different. And now they're open. It's very difficult to talk to a young person whose heart is closed, and the more you try, the more it closes on you. And I wouldn't even talk about the issue, the drugs, the promiscuity, whatever. I would just bring them around your life, and eventually they'll open up to you.
I guess just a word of encouragement to whoever asked the question is just to remember there's really no quick fix. So while it sometimes appears that there's no progress, just be consistent and what you're hearing. You never know what's happening in the heart, and sometimes it's the key to that breakthrough is just being consistent. The other thing that comes to my mind is when I was younger, there was a guy who used to stand at the back door of our church. And if you got up as a young person, you're going anywhere close to that door, where are you going? And, we used to kind of try to figure out ways around him to go to the bathroom. We'd have to wait until after church. And, we eventually we knew he loved us. He was a good friend of mine's dad. But there was another lady in the church, Sister Betty Nugent, who had a way of communicating her love to us in such a unique way that she could ask you to do the thing that you would never want to do, and you could not say no to her. She would have us do all kinds of stuff in church, and what it came down to was she knew how to communicate love to us in a way that each of us understood, and it created a special bond. So looking for ways to communicate your care for that person in a way that they understand. Letting them know that essentially what Christ did for us is he revealed his love through his actions and then gave us the opportunity to make a decision. And I think if we look at that model and apply it, recognizing it took God, Jesus on earth, 3 whole years with the disciples to kind of get them started. The consistency and investing and then time-wise makes a big difference.
So just to finish up this question that we're on, why is it they rely on the counsel that they receive from the social media rather than their families? Well, I would respond by saying, as somebody pointed out, I think it was you, Pastor Mark, in the first presentation this afternoon, families don't spend any quantity time, let alone quality time. They're not communicating. You said like 3 minutes and make your conversation, meaningful conversation a week. And dads are even worse than that. It's less than 3 minutes, like 1.5 minutes. If you want your kids to come to you for counsel, you got to be available and you got to have a relationship with them where you feel that you're interested in them and you're willing to take time to listen to their concerns. That's why they're getting the answer from everybody else. We're too busy. They come and say, Dad, can I ask you a question? Don't bother me right now. I'm working on something. We need to be available to our kids. And then if we are, if we have a good relationship with us, they'll start asking us questions.
Well, I'm sorry, I had to go and check my phone. I don't know what the question discussion is, but while but it's still that I remember. I think I was 14 or 15 when my dad came to me and he said something like, "Son, I kind of want to be your friend." And I looked at my dad and I said, I didn't say anything, but I knew that that's not going to work. Because he missed the train. Then for the first part of my life, I was so busy with life and work, he was a good man and I have an excellent relationship now. But he never had time when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I don't remember my father ever playing anything with me. I remember working. I remember that. Working, it was the work of the day. My point is, when do you begin that? You have to begin early in life. As soon as you can, early in life. Because if you want to do that and then get in trouble, it's too late.
There's also an interesting thing, most of you already know before I started working with the church, I worked in the secular world with troubled youth. And there's something interesting. When a young person knows what you want for them, let's say they understand grades are important and I want you to get straight A's, right? Whenever something starts to go wrong in the relationship and the grades in their mind are the only thing you care about, and they begin to think you care more about grades than them, they actually begin to resent that thing that's important to you, right? So sometimes they will purposefully mess up with the grades or just not try as hard. The motivation somehow just vanishes in that area because, well, that's kind of a way of getting back on some level. Sometimes spirituality is that thing where we're bringing up spirituality and our desire for them to be interested in spiritual things, and they may come and say, "Hey, I'm interested in whatever," and at some point, if they feel like the only thing you really care about is their spirituality, some individuals actually begin to resent that. So sometimes it's as simple as communicating interest in other areas of their life, just discovering what they're into. And even if it's not something you're into, asking questions about it and just communicating interest in other areas. And sometimes that can be helpful in getting them to be willing to try the other thing that you're interested in.
Thank you. Really good response.
And just speaking from personal experience, one of the great things that really bonds the family is taking vacations together. Because that way you're away from work, you're away from all your regular routine. For about 11 and a half years of my ministry, I was departmental director. First in New Jersey and then in the Texaco Conference. And you have lots of activities different weekends. Workers' meetings and camp meetings and things. My kids remember the camp meetings to this day. We used to go out and play baseball, we used to go out canoeing, together, because you're away from your regular routine, you get the whole vacation you can spend with the family. And, you can do that not only on vacations, but also take a day a week off for the family. I remember it used to be that Mondays, pastors were supposed to take off to be with the family. It's after the weekend, after the Sabbath. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen very frequently.
So the old adage that you've all heard, a family that prays together stays together, but what Pastor Ford is saying, a family that plays together stays together. We don't, as adults and young adults, we don't play enough. Life is too serious, and we always have our noses to the grindstone, work, and responsibilities, and this and that. We need to loosen up and learn how to enjoy life. Too many Adventists, as I heard a preacher say one time, look like they've been weaned on a sour pickle. We're just going around with a sour looking face and we look like we've lost every friend in the world. We need to enjoy life and be happy. Jesus said, I've come to give you life that might be more abundantly, and so let's loosen up and let's play together. Ellen White says that in his home, especially fathers, we need to come down from our high horse. She doesn't use that word, but that's my word. And get down and be like a little kid and play with your kids. Wrestle with them on the floor and tickle them. I used to do that with my boys all the time. We just have a time in the evening before we go to bed, before we, read a Bible story and pray, and have a fun time and roll around on the floor and tickle each other and all laugh so hard and hardly breathe. So learn to play with your kids. Have a good time. Next question. How can a person who wants to disengage from computer addiction cope if they have to deal with computer all day at work, and then they have a lot of free time when they come home in the evening? So here they are, their profession requires them to be on the computer all day, and so that's kind of hooked them on this media. But now they're at home, and they're not doing, work activities on the computer. They're trying to loosen up, but they're still used to being on the computer. So how do they break free from that addiction if that's part of their work?
My assumption is that, this is just an assumption, that if at work they're working, they're not supposed to be or should not be, or would not be using social media and some of the other things that actually become more addicting. Now, if you're just doing screen time and you're actually punching numbers and doing data, and I just can't imagine anyone being addicted to that, I guess, unless you're an accountant or something like that. But in that rare case, except for that rare case, most people are probably surfing the internet in between. Or you've got a lull, in your job, like when I was working in a bank many years ago, when nothing was going on, we'd surf the internet. And so that can be a challenge when you're working around it. So what you have to do is really ask God for enough willpower that while you're at work, you work. And you would try to avoid the social media sites and the various other things. And if it's an addiction, any addiction, you must admit it and then submit it to the Lord and ask for help. And obviously there are apps, like I said, that can help you do that. You may want to actually delete certain things off of your computer. So there's, when I had my phone, actually I was losing memory because I just got the 16 gig and I figured I'm never going to use this. Eventually I started to use up all the memory, but what I started doing is I deleted my internet off my phone, I deleted Facebook, Messenger, a lot of the things that NFL stuff, just whatever I knew I was my go-to, I just got rid of it. So I couldn't even go on the internet on my phone whatsoever. Then I upgraded now today, so I have the new channel. But the other thing is when you go home, it's the same thing as developing new habits. If you know when you go home, you haven't exercised, or you didn't have a good prayer time, or you haven't really studied, and make the time to do that. You've got a family, by all means. Face-to-face engagement with the people in your home is far better than engaging in screen time. So it's actually developing new habits, not just giving up something. You want to actually replace it with something positive, something good, something constructive. You've been wanting to do piano for all these years, you haven't had time because of screen time. So now give that up and now start on that, that new task or that new skill you want to develop.
That's a good biblical principle. We're told in Romans to overcome evil with good. Ellen White uses the illustration of a field that is left uncultivated. And of course, it becomes overrun with weeds. So we need to cultivate our mind with good things and fill them, as Philippians 4:8 says, think on these things that are noble and pure and praiseworthy. Oh, yes, Norma.
We just finished our stewardship Sabbath school lesson. And one of the things that I wish we would do more is talk about the fact that Sister White says that time is a talent. And the time that we waste on looking at all of this stuff in the internet, she says of all of them, we are going to be held very highly accountable for the lost time that we could have used with family or spreading the word or learning or something. But all of this messaging and everything, it's a waste of time, and we're going to be held accountable for it.
Very good. So, David, this is addressed to you from your last presentation. I want to know how you notice your attention span changed since you cut off social media and your phone use. Well, limited. You didn't totally cut it off, but how was your ability to concentrate on things and just to learn and remember things when you weren't filling your mind with all this other stuff?
I'll go way back beyond more recently as a pastor when I was, just a young adult, and I was into pornography. I was into video games, staying late with my friends on Saturday nights, 3, 4 in the morning, playing video games. I used to work at Blockbuster, so I was watching movies all the time, television, all it was just inundated with all this stuff, and I recognized that my mind was only equal continually, constantly thinking about John. and just unrighteous things. And then also I recognized that, like I worked at a bank, so I was talking on the phone pretty much all day to people. I realized my vocabulary was limited. And my mother's an English teacher, so she whipped vocabulary into us, diction and speech and all kinds of fun things that I'm grateful for now. And so I just recognized that my language changed. I wasn't, speaking at the same level that I used to. And I also recognized that when I was trying to write poetry, and I like writing music and poetry, and I just couldn't do it. My creativity was absolutely almost non-existent. And so as God changed my diet, as I started getting away from the screen time, then video games and television, I recognized that my memory was better, I was sleeping better, I could concentrate better, I could stay focused in a book longer, I could actually engage in conversations longer. As I began preaching again, I recognized that it was easy to look over my sermon once and I didn't have to use a manuscript. I could just pretty much memorize where I was going and know what was happening. I could memorize scriptures a whole lot easier. So that's just a simple answer to say that it was just a stark contrast between where I was before and what I saw my mind being able to do by the grace of God after God delivered me from all of these things over the course of time, including the superficial reading is hard because everything on the internet is really a superficial scan. It's hard to get really deeply engaged. I think that's just the way that media presents itself. But other than that, long story short, that's the noticeable big things.
So as we learned in our opening presentation last night from Pastor Arcadian, the battle is for the mind which the enemy is using. And this question is about subliminal messages. Is the enemy able to use these to hijack our minds? Well, most of you know what subliminal messages are. Things are flashed on the screen. Like, most of you don't go to movie theaters, but just to use that as an illustration, in the previews they're flashing popcorn, Coca-Cola, and different things on the screen or on television. You don't even know that, but when there's a break that people are hungry, they go out and buy the same things in the foyer that they see on the screen. So can we be influenced subliminally when we're not even recognizing that we're being influenced by the people? Yes, we can.
Well, there is in the psychiatry a known experiment. It's called something like burnt toast. Anybody has heard of the burnt toast experiment? Anything like this? It was done by a psychiatrist researching the brain, and what happened is this lady, she has an epilepsy, and she falls down while she was in her kitchen burning her toast. And they take her to the hospital, and they open the brain, and the doctor begins to do some experiments on her brain in trying to treat her epilepsy. And while he's probing her brain, she's awake. And she's probing different areas of the brain. And at one point, when he reaches a certain point, she says, "Oh, it smells like burnt toast." Then what he realized is that actually we store in our subconscious probably most of the information of life. You store in your brain everything you see, everything that happens. It's not at the level of consciousness, the frontal lobe, but it's stored somewhere in your brain. It's still there. And what I'm saying with this is that we don't need subliminal messages in the sense you probably has asked the question, because everything we see, it's going to be there in the brain, and it's going to have an effect upon us even when we don't realize. It's still there in my mind. The movies I watch, the images on internet, the music you listen to, everything you do, it seems to be from this research that it's stored in your brain, it's still there, and it affects us in a way that we even don't realize.
That reminds me of the psychiatrist that was a member of my church in Maryland, wrote a book talking about everything that goes into the mind is permanently recorded there. That would be discouraging if it were not for another fact. You can't erase what's already been embedded or imprinted there. And just a side point, when Jesus comes back, something's going to be triggered in the minds of the wicked, and they're going to have instant recall of all the evil that they've done. I don't know how God is going to do that, but it's all being called forth from their mind. But the good news is, even though it's permanently recorded there, we can build alternate pathways.
Amen.
You know, without going into a scientific explanation with the neurons and the synaptic junctions that are the pathways in the mind, we can't alter those pathways, but we can build detours by making new choices. It's like a dog that is chained and goes back and forth on your lawn and wears a path. But you can make new pathways in the brain by making new choices. And so here's a very important point that I never had an opportunity to share. When you're praying for victory over a bad habit, he brought this out. This is the first time I've ever heard this explained. When you say, Lord, please help me to overcome my anger, my lust, or whatever, by the mere mention of that negative habit, you're triggering, you're firing up those neurons in your brain, and it's bringing it to your subconscious, and you find yourself doing the very thing that you pray to ask God to give you the victory over. Don't pray for the thing that you don't want to have. Pray for what you do want to have. Lord, help me to be peaceful and calm. Help me to have a pure mind and pure thoughts. Because when you mention the negative, it triggers that and it brings it up in your mind from this built-in tape recorder in your brain. I thought that was an amazing idea. So I hope that helps you. Pray for something that's positive, not for ones you don't want to have.
Probably Master Jensen would remember this because he's got a photographic mind. And he remembers everything denominational. But Roland Hickson used to be religious liberty director of the General Conference. And this was 40-some years ago when I was beginning my ministry. He published a little book, and the name of the book was Mind Manipulators, where he showed that many advertisements have a jingle with it. And the minute that you hear the jingle, your mind is triggered to get that product. Like, for example, things go better with Coke. You have no time. So the minute that you hear the jingle, it triggers in your brain, you need to drink a Coke. And even to this day, advertising is not only verbal, it goes with music. Because they know that through the music, they can manipulate you to get the product.
And then just kind of dovetail on that point, it was an article that I didn't read earlier, but basically it's about the power of advertising. This is CNN. And the writer says, everywhere we go, everywhere we look, we are inundated with messages. We don't even have to think for ourselves. All we have to do is sit on our comfy couch to be told how to live our lives, and how to look, what to wear, what to eat, what our homes should look like, how to meet people, what to drive. Practically every facet of our lives is taken care of. That is the power of advertising. A good advertisement tells us we need something even before we think we do. It offers us a look into the ideal life, the ideal body, the ideal mate, all wrapped up in an ideal world. And so it's just very interesting how the power of advertising works. I think that some of you maybe have seen the documentary Corporation, and it talks about how corporations, do a lot of things that are destructive to our planet and government, but also how advertising is used really to manipulate the public. They try to manipulate children, and they advertise to children so they can get them to nag, and they can actually track how many visits to Disneyland or visits to certain places have taken place because the kids nag their parents to get there because the kid was manipulated or advertised to get them to want that. And so subliminal advertising takes place, product placement, all that is done. They spend billions of dollars on it because it works.
Very much, as Pastor Ford said that. A good example of this advertising is sugar cereals. The kids go into the store and they know exactly what kind of cereal they want when their parents are going down that aisle because it's got that from the jingles in the advertising.
That's what we give another example. My mom, when she was pregnant with my sister coming after being aged, we were living in Colombia, and during the time of her pregnancy, it was kind of rough because she got nauseated very frequently. And I remember that the music that we would put on quite frequently was Arthur Fiedler Boston Pops Orchestra. After that, whenever my mom heard the Boston Pops Orchestra, which is very unique, it had a unique sound, for those of you who have heard it, when Arthur Fiedler was there anyway. she felt bad. And even though she wasn't pregnant. Because it was etched in her brain, and advertisers do the same thing. You know, what's in your brain there, you know, you get, like Elder Jensen said, you can form a different pathway in your nervous system, but that stays there until the day in which Jesus changes this mortal and corruptible body into the likeness of his glorious life.
So one of the things that has come into vogue for health reasons is these Fitbit watches. In fact, every pastor in this conference has been given a Fitbit watch, and now in our healthcare, we're required to monitor our steps a day and different activities. And so this question relates to that, but didn't come from a pastor, it came from one of you. What is your opinion of Fitbit watches? They monitor your heart rate, steps, exercise, and give reports. They can even sync with your cell phones to give messages. Is there a danger there also with these Fitbit watches and connecting them to cell phones and other media? I'm sure, I'm not that familiar with how they sync together, but I'm sure we could almost, you know, you see these people exercising in the gym or running, you know, around the block, and they're always looking at the watch. I think, man, this is work for them. They're not even having a good time. Oh, I'm 30 seconds behind today. I have to run faster. Enjoy your exercise. I think we're just too tied up to all this stuff. We got to outperform. We got to do better. And the stress of that is good. So what about these Fitbit watches?
I was one of the pastors of Godwin, and I do use it. Initially, I had my regular watch that I actually liked, and I was wearing what was it called? It wasn't the Fitbit, it was another brand, Garmin and what have you. And so I was wearing it constantly, synced it with my iPhone, and basically every time I would get an alert or a text or a call, you could see it, you know, on your wrist. And so what I found, based on even some of the things I shared earlier, is that every time something came in, it's a distraction. Or I look down, I could see who texted me, I kind of read part of the text, I could see who's calling me if I wanted to get to my phone. And so I would also use it for exercise, though. I could time myself differently. So there are some benefits to that. I could see my heart rate while I was exercising. It told me how long maybe I had slept, which is another, you know, potential benefit if you're trying to track that. But I personally just found that it became as much for me as I was trying to just detach from all this technology. I'm wearing it, you know, it's all over the place. I just got rid of it. So now, not got rid of it, I took it off. So now I only wear it when I work out in the mornings, and then I take it off and I let it sit. That's just me.
So that can become addictive too, as you just said. And even things that originally start with a good purpose, the devil can use it and manipulate it to entrap you. That's, you know, Satan takes innocent things on the surface and it gets you involved with that, and supposedly when he throws out the bait. Now this next question, I wish we had somebody from FAA here, and says, why don't our schools teach our students the hazards of too much social media and how to use it correctly? Well, that's a good question for schools. I'm not sure that it's really taught that. You know, a few years ago, FAA went on, they gave everybody iPads, and they went to that in place of textbooks. And they're starting to find, initially, I think they programmed them so they couldn't go on to any other sites. But I've heard some stories recently where the kids have found a way around that, and they're using it for other things besides the textbooks. So I think there's always a danger when you have these media out there, because the parents, as was brought out in one of the meetings at the school, really are not aware of what their kids are using these media things for. So what can we do to encourage our schools, I guess, to monitor this more carefully? They sent to school in David quite a bit. And Maurice used to be there all the time. I don't know if he was there as much on Tuesdays.
I substitute taught for a number of years, and I know there's a very strict curriculum already in place, and there's not a lot of time for extra things. And that's a sort of a thing where you would probably have an expert come in, or something that should be taught by the parents, because it's just, the teachers are rushing around just to teach math, English, reading, writing. Like, it's a full day just to get those in and have an adequate put state requirements to have that. So I've heard a lot of people complain, why don't we have this, why don't we have that, why don't we have this? There's really only so many hours a day. There are state requirements that we have to meet as teachers to fulfill those type of things. And at FAA, I spend an hour a week teaching the Bible. Do we want to replace it with something else? I think that's more something that you should learn at home from your parents. Too many people want to push too many things on the school and say, well, it's your guys' fault my kids are doing this and not that. And really, it comes from the parents.
Yeah, you just touched on a very key point there, and that is there's a three-way partnership. In fact, I have a sermon on Christian education that's entitled Partnership. And the parents don't just push off the responsibility to the school and expect the same thing with the church. But the foundation of all society, as Ellen White brings out in Adventist Home, is the family. It needs to start there, and these other agencies, the school and the church, are supplemental. But in today's busy life, parents have abdicated their responsibility and expect somebody else to train their children. That's a dangerous trend. We've answered the questions that we've had here turned in. We're almost out of time in a few minutes. But are there any questions from the audience? If so, raise your hand. Okay, go ahead.
You will never warn someone of a danger that you don't think exists. So our schools may not even know this. Our teachers may not know this. And so they would be in a position of needing education on the potential dangers of too much screen time and social media. I think if they did know it, or if they were exposed to the fact that most of the schools where the tech, kids go, they're minimizing technology. Or the parent of kids who have parents who are in executive technology positions. And I also think that sometimes we as a church are a few years behind everyone else. So we're still in the excitement phase over all this stuff. We're still like, use it, get it on there, get your message out on it. And so it might take us a few years to eventually get to the point like, we kind of have damaged ourselves a little bit as a result of too much social media or too much of the internet or what have you. So hopefully we'll get around to it in a few more years when we catch up with everyone else out there.
I wanted to read a quote for you from the book Education. This has been to me one of the most significant quotes for youth ministry, for parenting, and it really hits at the heart of the question why. When you're young, you ask that one word question often, why? Why? As we get older, I think we ask it less. And the quote here says, in households and in schools, the education of children should not be like the training of dumb animals. For children have an intelligent will, which should be directed to control all their powers. The dumb animals need to be trained, for they have not reason and intellect. The human mind must be taught self-control. It must be educated to rule the human being, while the animal is controlled by the master. The beast is trained to be submissive to his master. And listen to this part. It says the master is mind, judgment, and will for his beast. A child may be so trained as to have, like the beast, no will of his own. His individuality may even be submerged in the one who superintends his training, and the will is, to all intents and purposes, subject to the will of the teacher. And then it ends by just this really sobering comment. It says, children who are thus educated will ever be deficient in moral energy and individual responsibility. They have not been taught to move from reason and principle. Their will was controlled by another, and the mind was not called out, that it might expand and strengthen by exercise. And I encourage you to find that. This is Christian Education 6.1. On page 6, paragraph 1. It's the chapter 1, proper education. And the core of this quote essentially is we can train behavior, but in the absence of that teacher, student, or parent, or whatever it is, you get a child who does something with their iPad or phone or whatever it is, and remove the iPads from the schools, they have their friend's phone. Remove the phone from them, they have their friend's iPad. So simply removing the technology is not enough. There needs to be an educating of the mind so that person can make their own decisions when they're not under their watch care. And so I encourage you to go back and read this chapter. It's chapter 1, and oh man, it's just loaded. But the heart of everything here is helping them to understand why some of these things are important.
Reminds me of a statement where Ellen White says, we're to teach people to be thinkers, not mere reflectors of other people's lives. So training to think, to reason through consequences, actions and consequences, so that when they're on their own, they can make the proper decisions. They're not always going to have us around as adults or parents. They need to learn those principles. We can decide everything for them, but that's really doing a disservice. Because then when they're away from us, they will make wrong choices. Now, are there any questions or comments from the audience? You're all ready to, way in the back, yes. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, with YouTube channels, I like to view both the teachings and ministry. I've noticed some channels may have advertisers, and the content would be offensive for non-Christians. Would you say that by accepting income from advertisers, these channels may be in error?
You said these are Christian programs on YouTube,
Yeah.
and they're receiving paid advertising from.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I know some of them have like commercials, and with it, the content is not necessarily 7 minutes. Like it could be maybe a movie promotion, or it could just be anything that's not necessarily Christian. So I'm wondering, is it something that the channel should not do, or should I try not to just watch while the commercials are running?
Good question. I believe it's probably somewhat similar to if we produced a program here in the church that we thought would be a benefit to the community, let's say a health program. And we said, hey, we found a way to air this on whatever the TV station is, or some local TV station. When we put that program on the TV station, though from our perspective we see benefit in getting the message out, we don't have control beyond our program what commercials or other programs come on the TV station. Now, when you're dealing with TV, you may say, okay, well, on this station we will never put a program there, whereas maybe on Fox or whatever the stations are, we may put something there. YouTube and kind of the social media era is unique in that it's all on this one platform. And so I think to have certain features, for instance, Secrets Unsealed, we live stream 24/7 on YouTube, but to be able to live stream, you actually have to enable monetization, and that's something that YouTube controls. And so it's a part of just how technology is changing. So YouTube's a business, and they found a way to make money. Essentially, they say you can use our thing for free, we will advertise, and so there's not a whole lot of ways around that part of it.
Say that doesn't mean you can't request and complain to the people in charge of YouTube. It can change if enough people complain about it.
All right,
I would like to add to that though, there is I think it's called YouTube Red, that if you opt into it, I think it gives you the option to remove all advertised ads and so forth. So there are some options from the viewing perspective as well.
This afternoon, Pastor Octavian shared some statements from Focus on the Family. I downloaded several weeks ago something that they recently put out. I wish I had a website for them, but you can just Google that. They put together a very detailed, comprehensive, it's called A Parent's Guide to Today's Technology. And it tells you how to check on your kids' usage and check on the passwords and what they're watching and all the content. How to what do you call it, block certain things from coming on the media. It's about a 20-page thing you can download on your computer. Parents' Guide with Today's Technology. Very, very helpful. And then 2 months ago, well, back in May of last year, Science of the Times carried an article about media, and I just copied a couple of pages of that. It asks them, you'll receive a copy actually late today for lunch next door, the light supper, of some questions to ask yourself if you think, to see if you're really hooked or addicted to the media. It just has several questions. I'll just read a couple. Do you check your social media before or as soon as you get out of bed in the morning? Have you posted more than one item online in the past 48 hours? You're 2 minutes down the road when you realize that you forgot your phone. Do you go back? Do you need to, this is an interesting one, the next one, do you need to charge your phone more than once a day? Yeah. Do you look at social media in inappropriate places, such as during work hours, sitting in church, while using the restroom, or even illegally while driving? It's unfortunate, many people use these iPhones and iPads to look up Bible verses, but I've noticed, even in this church, that there are young people that are just looking at a bunch of other stuff on what's out there. It's hard to monitor that. Don't assume that your kids are looking up Bible verses when they're sitting here in church, or probably not. And my own personal bias is I like to look up Bible verses in a Bible. Amen. I like to mark my Bible. I like to hold my Bible and read it, not on some other platform. That's just my own personal preference. And then on the opposite page, there are several suggestions on how to go through detox. We've been talking about this fact of addiction, and these are real addictions, and there's some very practical ways to kind of disconnect from all this involvement with the social media. So start with the day, as David had said, and build up to a week or even a month without checking on or posting to social media. For one whole day, use your phone for nothing other than voice calls and relying on incoming messages. Then try a weekend or even a whole week. Limit yourself on when and how long you will allow yourself to use social media. Find a new pastime for those many downtimes when you normally resort to scrolling through social media, such as studying the landscape or talking to a stranger. I always find it, we talked about communication, you did at one of the 5 points, this after the first point. I always find it interesting when I'm driving down to Kings Canyon going past Sunnyside High School and the kids have just gotten out of school. There's a bunch of kids standing on the corner and they're all sitting there with their phones texting each other, and the people that they're texting are right there in a group like this. And rather than verbally communicating with each other, looking at them, they're all just doing this. And I found out from teachers in school that because of this, kids have lost their verbal skills and they've lost their grammar and spelling skills, because they have their own language on the phone. The way they write their letters and they abbreviate it. So it's really affecting learning overall and ability to speak and communicate as an intelligent human being. So we really have to be careful, as was said earlier, as David said, the media can do wonderful things, and God is using that. There are people in Africa that can download a television message or a radio message on their watch. But the devil knows how to sabotage everything good that God has made available. So we just have to be on guard, and as Pastor Ford said in his sermon this morning, guard well the senses of the soul. Any closing remarks by our panel?
Well, I just wanted to say that, if you see that happening at school, you ought to try an airport. When you're walking, I just came from Dallas yesterday. I was at 388 on first time program. And unless you have your eyes open, you're going to be bumping into everybody that's walking from one gate to another, and they're typing on their phones. And time after time, it's almost like you have a collision, because everybody's on their cell phone. The same thing when you're in the subway in New York. It's amazing the number of people that are just sitting there, with their cell phone in their hands and working on the cell phone.
And one of the dangers that is, there we go. Here in Fresno, but around the country, there are many pedestrians that are being killed by cars because they're going across the street in the crosswalks and they're not even looking. And they're oblivious to the traffic and they're looking on their cell phones. These have become dangerous in more ways than one, not just spiritually, but physically, can take your life, literally.
Zombie apocalypse is real.
Yes, comment or question?
I think we need to really teach our children and grandchildren to really love Jesus.
Amen.
And somehow we can get that message across. We need to play with them. We need to pray with them. But we need to teach them to really love the Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, I don't have to look it up in my mind. You know how it is, right where it is on the page.
I think we're all pretty clear on the fact that there are dangers connected to this technological world we live in. Some of you probably heard there were people who died playing that game Pokemon Go. They're looking for these Pokemon, these little creatures, and people walked off, dangerous cliffs as they're looking for this thing. But I want to maybe share the other side of the coin. And one of my burdens, I think, for us as a church is to really take the lead in different areas of life. For instance, I think of health often. I go through Santa Cruz and I see these vegan restaurants, and I'm like, we should have owned all these. Suddenly when it began to be a trend, all of a sudden now we're talking, let's open healthy restaurants, when we've had the health message for a very long time. As we stand here at this point in time, there's kind of a revolution happening in the tech world. Have any of you seen that new building downtown called Bitwise? Anyone? I see a few hands going up. I actually had a chance to tour that building, and as I was walking through the building, I was thinking, I don't know if we recognize the generation that we're actually trying to reach with the gospel. As I walked through the building, they said, hey, we have 20-year-olds here who will never have to worry about work or money for the rest of their lives. And it's not just a job or technology to them, it's actually a movement, is how they communicated. Everything they communicated to me on that tour sounded like a church. They have social activities multiple times each week. They have movie nights, they have game nights. There's a social community that's built up around what's happening in that tech building. And they're only growing, they're expanding. They're wanting to make Fresno the new Bay Area, essentially. And it's working. It's actually catching traction. They talked about outreach. They actually have people in this company who do community outreach to get people into their building. They have workout facilities there that are open to the community. And literally, as I listened to it, it sounded like a lot of the things we hear us talk about when we talk about church. Now, there was also something that caught my attention. We're in a break room where people who are working were playing pool and playing video games. And literally, they were working and playing pool and video games. The guy said, hey, you know what? If they're working and they feel like taking a break, they take a break. They go watch a movie. They go play pool. They go drink beer. And he showed me this massive double-door refrigerator where he said the company keeps it stocked with beer. It was empty. When we walked into the room, so he said, whoa, there must have been a huge party here this weekend because the refrigerator is empty. And I was thinking to myself, the environment there is very much a family type environment. Everyone was friends with everyone. And there was something that I suddenly realized. Usually when you're living the party life, when you're drinking, when you're doing that type of thing, there's often a point where you hit this wall and you feel this emptiness. Like, you want something more. Maybe you reach the age of marriage or whatever, and you think to yourself, there's got to be more to life than this. Well, somehow we've reached a point in time where you can live that life but still have a sense of fulfillment. They feel as though we're impacting our community in a positive way through technology. They're doing volunteering type things. And so it's a generation of people who are actually finding fulfillment on some level while still having this worldly environment around them. And I think that we need to start thinking bigger. What if we as a church, I'm not speaking locally, but in a general sense, had our own institute of technology where we taught people some of the things we've talked about today, where a young person from our church has an interest in technology, instead of going downtown to Bitwise, they can enroll in our Adventist School of Technology, where we're able to communicate those important principles that they need to understand and how they can use it for the furthering of the gospel. I think when we start thinking in that way, we could really, instead of saying it's bad, don't do it, we could say, here are the ways that you can use it positively, and then let's stay away from the other stuff. To close out, I just want to encourage those of you who are on Facebook and Instagram or whatever to really be intentional in how you use it. Quick testimony, there is a family member of mine who lives and works in Hollywood, and I don't know, some of you probably don't even know that, but he was sharing with me a story about an actress he was working with, one of the girls who grew up in Disney, and she was going through a tough time. And I just felt impressed to reach out to this young lady. And, well, how do you connect with a celebrity? In times past, you show up at an event and hope maybe you can get an autograph or say hi or wave at them. But I thought, hey, she's on Instagram. So I sent her a message. And you know what? Within about 10 minutes, I got a response. And for a number of months now, we've gone back and forth just talking. And on the screen, her life looks glamorous. She's having fun. There's all this amazing stuff happening. As we interact, there's depression. There's a lot of challenges. A couple of us young adults went on a road trip about 3 summers ago to a safe house for sex trafficking victims near Las Vegas. And the director for that program made a post on Instagram. I commented on it. And there was another lady who responded to my comment. We talked for a little bit. She messaged me to my inbox. Turns out she's the wife of an NFL player. And I've had the opportunity to share some with her, and she's Christian as well, but not Adventist. So there's a unique opportunity as well. We talked about reaching people in areas of affluence, and we literally have a portal to some of these people, and so be intentional, but also be careful. Amen?
Very good. As Pastor Moore was speaking this morning, he took us to a lot of texts, and he was in Psalm 15, and my eyes skipped over to the very next chapter, chapter 16, which was another good verse to end his message on, but it had a lot of good ones. This is Psalm 16 and verse 8. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. So, that's been put into a scriptural song, the last 2 verses, I shall not be moved. Some of you are familiar with that. Because I set the Lord always before me, because he's at my right hand, I shall not be moved. So may God help us to use these things wisely and carefully, and remember that by beholding what happens, we are changed, whether we realize it or not. So I appreciate our senior pastor taking initiative and coming up with the idea for this weekend. I hope you found it beneficial. I know I have. And let's take these things to heart. And those of you that have young people at your home, I hope you will take what you learned today and really help them, guide them in the right way. And I'm going to turn the closing remarks right now over to our pastor.
Well, I asked Pastor Jensen to allow me to give me 2 minutes at the end of this time. It is my hope that, coming to church, hearing things, going back home, we forget them, and go back to the same, nothing changes. My question for this afternoon, for those of you who are present, is there anybody here after hearing all this from last night to tonight, is there anybody here that thought of changing something? Is there anybody in this audience that thought of changing a little bit? I just want to see if there's anybody here. Well, a few of us.
You mean after your talks?
After these talks, after the Sabbath, anybody that listened to all these hours and hours of presentations and information, Bible and research, and I was looking, I wanted to know if there's anybody that thought of, well, I have to go home and this is going to change my life. That was my question, and I just want to look, and I see a few hands. Well, praise God and may the Lord bless you. I would like to end with a passage from Job, chapter 31, verse 1, which says, go ahead.
I just wanted to share one last thing real quick. I've communicated with our young people on kind of some of the different social media things. And I just want to throw this out there. Of all the ones that I would say, delete, Snapchat is deadly. Trust me. I can tell you by experience. So Facebook, Instagram, all of those things are like, time grabbers and so forth. But I've talked to a lot of young people who have been devastated by things that happen on Snapchat. I downloaded it and I was like, yeah, this is bad. So I deleted Snapchat. So I want to encourage you, if you don't know what Snapchat is, you probably should learn a little bit about it and find out if you're a young person using it. Because that one is a special beast. So.
I was thinking to ask you another question before I read the last passage in the Bible tonight. I would like to know that in a business, you prepare, you put time and efforts in promoting and doing this and that, and then you look at the results of what you have done. One of my questions, I'll be very curious, I don't know how can I get back an answer. I was hoping to have more families, more young families with children and more people coming for the weekend. I'm very happy you came, but I'm thinking, is there anything else we can do for those who are not present? If you talk to people, you have friends, brothers and sisters in church and other people, do me a favor, please talk to them and ask them, why didn't you come? Because I like to know why not. Is it because of us? Or is it because of the circumstances? Is it because of the weather?
More posting on social media. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Okay, more posting on social media, which means that people have not been informed, people didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know about it at all.
Let me see.
I didn't know anything about it at all until I read that you were supposed to speak last night.
Okay, Sister Norma says that she didn't know anything about it.
I have seen some posting of it on different like lists and groups and there's people saying different things, but I know that if there's something that needs to get told to a lot of people all at once, for me, Facebook is the go-to. So I mean, there's like Maurice was saying, it is a tool that you can use. You have to be careful how you use it, but I think there's a little bit more presence maybe in that. But
I'm interested in it because again, you planning, you put time and effort, you spend money organizing this. I mean, even having the potluck, we usually didn't have a potluck, but we have lots of, some of the ladies need a lot of time to prepare food to provide for those who want to stay.
I was thinking through this whole day that with the families that aren't here, maybe next time we can have childcare.
Childcare, okay, that's a good point. Yes, please.
I can say private audiences, families and small students, is there a specific, what is that looking for, is it community members, is it church members? Who can use a private audience?
The question was the target population for the program. Well, in my mind, if you ask me, the program basically targeted I would say mid-age generation, 30 to 50. That was in my mind. Because I think you look at the statistics, the high consumers of media are the teenagers, but also you have lots of family issues going around because of the media. Yes?
So if then, young adults just come, when your writing was done, I heard the Facebook, yeah, what's up there? Well, first of all, were people going to locations where these types of curriculums might be, whether it's a school setting or a community setting? And second of all, yeah, that's the way I understand the same.
Because in my mind, the question is this. Either people don't know or people are not interested. That is what's my question. And if the answer is well, if people are not interested, we should not have a teacher.
No, I think these are
But
interested, it's the first one.
if there is an interest, then we have to understand that we have to do a better job of informing them. So we have to learn that. Well, thank you. Then my last. Then I like to read the last passage for today. It's Job chapter 31, verse 1. It's one sentence. I have made a covenant with my eyes. I have made a covenant with my eyes. This will be my appeal for tonight and at the end of this program. It's in the end it becomes a spiritual battle for many of us, for all of us, for some of us to a certain degree. And I hope that at least some of us will leave this place this afternoon with a covenant in our hearts and with our eyes. Amen.
So, it's working now. I think before we go next door to fellowship together over some light supper, let's take our hymnals and close.